Okay, let's unpack this. If you are currently navigating the UK immigration system, or even just planning to in the near future, the ground is, well, it's shifting beneath your feet.
It really is.
And we aren't talking about, little tweaks to an application form or some minor fee adjustments. We are talking about a fundamental restructuring of how permanent settlement, indefinite leave to remain, or ILR, is achieved.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, for decades, the primary overriding factor for skilled migrants was quantifiable time. You put in your 5 years, you met the basic income and language requirements, and you settled. It was a time clock, essentially.
That model is being replaced.
Completely.
Our deep dive today is focused entirely on these massive reforms, the ones officially dubbed the earned settlement model, which we expect to see roll out throughout 2026.
Right.
And the core mission of this change is to explicitly move away from that purely time-based system to one that's predicated on, well, verifiable financial contribution, exemplary conduct, and demonstrated integration. It just fundamentally changes the equation for anyone planning a future here.
And our mission today isn't just to state the proposed changes, but to really cut through the legal documents and the planned dates so you know the practical implications.
What it actually means for you.
Exactly. From the huge increase in the waiting period for most people to some really critical digital deadlines you just have to hit if you plan to travel.
Okay, let's start immediately with that seismic shift in the standard baseline. This is segment 1. The new paradigm, shifting the entire philosophy from time served to contribution earned.
The most dramatic change, and really the one that affects the largest number of people, is the baseline qualifying period for ILR. Currently, for the high-volume routes like the skilled worker visa, the standard wait is 5 years of continuous legal residence.
5 years, that's the number everyone knows.
It is. But under the new earned settlement proposals, that standard period is proposed to, well, to double.
10 years.
10 years.
Just think about the scale of that shift for a moment.
Yeah.
For most people currently in the pipeline or applying soon, the settlement clock just went from 5 years to 10.
It's a massive change.
So that is an exponential increase in the personal, the professional, the financial commitment required before you can even apply.
Absolutely.
This isn't just a bureaucratic change, it's a life change.
Yeah.
I mean, it dictates when you can plan to buy a house, when your kids achieve home status, when you get true stability.
Precisely. And this is why that name earned settlement is so important. That 10-year baseline is the new default, but it's not absolute. The system is introducing what they're calling variable timelines, and they're explicitly designed to fast-track those the government deems most valuable while slowing down others.
So it's creating different lanes.
Exactly. Different speed lanes for settlement.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because the system is so transparently prioritizing economic input, you can actually shorten that timeline.
Right.
You can get back down to a rapid 3 to 5 years, but you have to fit a very specific high-value profile.
And those prioritized profiles, they fall into very clear categories. High earners. And the proposed threshold is significant, set at 50,270 pounds or more.
Whoa, okay, let's pause on that figure.
Sure.
50,207 pounds. Because context is everything here. The median full-time wage in the UK right now is what, closer to 35,000 pounds?
That's right.
And even with the skilled worker minimum now being around 38,700 pounds, this fast-track number is substantially higher.
Much higher.
It doesn't just mean well-paid, it means being in the top tier of earners. The priority lane is defined almost exclusively by your financial contribution.
Absolutely. The financial bar for that fast track is intentionally high. But then you have the flip side of those variable timelines, which is the extension.
The slow lane.
The very slow lane. They can be significantly lengthened, potentially stretching to 15 or even 30 years if your profile contains what the government defines as negative conduct markers.
Okay, so what are those markers? We need to be clear on what conduct could push someone onto that decades-long track.
Well, the source material focuses heavily on administrative noncompliance and reliance on the state. So negative markers would include a history of claiming benefits you weren't entitled to, any past immigration breaches, or a history of illegal entry.
So the key takeaway here is that financial independence and clean compliance are now prerequisites for just the standard path, not just the fast one.
Yes. If you run into trouble, say a major illness that forces you to claim certain benefits, that could dramatically impact your settlement timeline. It could shift you to a much, much longer track.
So if we synthesize all this, the UK is creating a formalized hierarchy. It's no longer enough to just be here legally for a set time.
No.
You have to actively show that you are financially and civically contributing at a high level. But if the time frame itself is shifting so dramatically toward high earners, that must mean the requirements within that time frame are also getting higher, right?
That's a perfect connection, and it moves us right into segment 2. The new higher hurdles being put up around language and conduct, which just reinforce this whole prioritization we've been talking about.
Let's start with the language hike. This one has a firm date.
Correct. The first major hurdle is the English language requirement, specifically for new applicants. Currently, many settlement routes require a level B1 English proficiency. But, effective January 8, 2026, the minimum requirement for new applicants on key work visas, that's skilled worker, scale-up, high-potential individual visas, it will rise sharply.
It jumps from B1 up to B2. Now, we need to be clear about what that jump means in practical terms, especially for an international audience.
Right. B1 is generally defined as intermediate or functional working English. You can understand the main points of clear standard input. You can get by.
Okay.
B2, however, is the independent user level. This means you can interact with a degree of fluency and spontaneity that makes regular interaction with native speakers quite possible.
So a much more conversational, nuanced level.
Exactly. Crucially, it means you can produce clear, detailed text on a wide range of subjects. It is a significant leap in the cognitive language ability you need just to get the initial visa.
So that heightened requirement at the very start makes the entire path to ILR more selective from day one.
From the outset, yes.
You have to be more integrated linguistically just to start the clock on your visa, let alone settlement.
And beyond language, the conduct requirements for settlement are being, well, rigorously tightened. The government is focusing heavily on what you could call civic cleanliness.
That spotless requirement seems to be becoming a serious barrier.
It's becoming literal. A spotless criminal record is emphasized, and this is crucial mandatory clearance of any outstanding NHS debts or tax debts will be required.
Any at all.
Any. The system is designed to catch and exclude non-compliant residents. So if you incurred a debt, even a small one, or maybe an administrative oversight, and you failed to clear it before applying, that application is immediately compromised.
And linking back to that earned concept, this scrutiny really reinforces the heavier emphasis the government will place on demonstrable financial contribution.
Absolutely.
It's not just about meeting an income threshold at the time of application. It's about the traceability and proof of your taxable income and national insurance contributions throughout your entire time here.
Right. If the government can't verify that you have paid into the system consistently and correctly, your path is jeopardized. This elevates your documentation from just a bureaucratic process to a foundational element of your eligibility.
Your paper trail is now critical.
Totally. If your records are incomplete, inaccurate, or if there's any debt whatsoever, your path to settlement is instantly complicated, potentially extended, or just outright blocked.
Speaking of things that require perfect administrative compliance, let's move to segment 3. The digital clock is ticking, specifically on this mandatory and often confusing transition to e-visas. And this impacts every single person with leave to remain, including people who already have ILR.
This is a major operational change that has an incredibly hard deadline for anyone who travels internationally. The government is rapidly phasing out all physical immigration documents.
So things like the BRP cards.
Exactly. Biometric residence permits, physical vignettes pasted into passports. All of that is going away by the end of 2025 and into early 2026.
So what does that mean for you, the listener, in practice?
It means that your status, including your hard-won ILR, is becoming fully digital. You will no longer have a physical document that proves your right to live and work in the UK.
Okay.
Everyone will need to use a UK Visas and Immigration, a UKVI account, to digitally prove their status. And that account must be actively linked to the passport you are traveling on.
This sounds simple, but I can imagine the process of activating and linking your status is a technical hurdle a lot of people might overlook until they're standing at an airport gate.
It's a huge potential pitfall. The essential step is to proactively get into your UKVI account, make sure your biometric details and your current passport number are correctly registered and linked. It's a mandatory shift.
No more showing a card or a stamp.
None. And if you have a BRP that's expiring in late 2024 or 2025, you must ensure you receive instructions on how to set up and verify your digital status, because no physical replacement is going to be issued.
And this all leads directly to the critical operational deadline everyone needs to circle on their calendar, because failure means immediate travel disruption.
That deadline is February 25, 2026. This is when the no permission, no travel rule becomes rigidly enforced by digital means.
And what does rigidly enforced mean here?
It means the carriers, the airlines, the border control systems will be running strict digital status checks. If your digital status isn't correctly activated and linked to your digital account and the passport you're presenting, you will be instantly flagged.
That's a high-stakes failure. I mean, we're talking about being denied boarding.
Denied boarding, stranded abroad, all because your digital paperwork wasn't ready and verified before you even got to the airport. This transition is not optional.
And it's time to coincide with the new settlement framework.
It is. So for anyone traveling internationally, failure to comply means immediate, non-negotiable travel disruption starting February 25th. You need to verify your digital status is correct well before that date.
Okay, we've covered the new baseline, the higher hurdles, and the digital deadlines.
Yeah.
Let's address segment 4. The massive uncertainty, particularly for people already here, surrounding the transitional arrangements.
And the abolition of that decade-long safeguard.
Right?
One clear policy proposal is to abolish the existing 10-year-long residence route. That was always a kind of safeguard route.
A safety net.
A universal safety net, really. It allows anyone who has been legally resident in the UK for a continuous decade to settle, regardless of their specific visa path. The government wants to replace that universal path entirely with this new, structured, earned settlement framework.
So that eliminates a crucial backstop, especially for people on niche visas or those who have long, complicated immigration journeys.
It does.
But the largest area of uncertainty, which is so crucial for you, the listener, if you're already in the country, is this question of grandfathering.
This is the core anxiety. If you started on a 5-year skilled worker path 2 or 3 years ago, the original promise was ILR in 5 years.
Of course.
Now, with the new standard proposed at 10 years, the question is, will you be grandfathered in under the old 5-year rules, or will you be moved onto the new 10-year baseline?
And we don't know the answer.
We simply don't know yet. The government is still deciding on those crucial transitional arrangements, which puts, well, millions of future plans into limbo.
The delay in just confirming is almost as disruptive as the change itself. So if you're waiting for certainty, you have to monitor this policy development very closely. And we have 2 key dates related to this uncertainty.
Right. First, the earliest date we might get some clarity is February 12, 2026.
Okay.
That is when the formal public consultation on these entire earned settlement changes officially closes. Any final policy adjustments on grandfathering will be formalized after that date.
And the expected launch for the new legal framework itself, when the uncertainty should finally end and the rules become law.
That's slated for spring or summer of 2026, which means the entire first half of 2026 is a period of high alert and potential volatility for anyone midway through their settlement journey.
Indeed. The transitional arrangements are the missing piece of the puzzle, and anyone approaching their 5-year mark in 2026 needs to be ready for the possibility that their timeline may suddenly double.
While they're just waiting for that official confirmation, it's a tough spot.
So what does this all mean when we put the pieces together?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the message from the UK government is, well, it's undeniable. The right to settle is no longer defined by simple presence. It is becoming a privilege explicitly reserved for those who demonstrate high income, high skill, and clean conduct.
Often resulting in a fast track.
Yes, for them. But the path is being significantly extended for everyone else, reinforcing financial contribution and rigorous compliance as the defining criteria over mere time spent in the country.
And we noted that the variable timelines prioritize high earners, but they also carve out exceptions for those in, quote, key public service roles, like NHS doctors and nurses. So given that intense focus on financial contribution, and with the new rules expected to launch in spring or summer 2026, how might that final legal framework, which is only decided after the public consultation closes in February 2026, how might it define those key public service roles? And will those definitions truly counteract the very strong financial thresholds being proposed?
That's the real tension here.
That's the tension at the heart of this policy, and it's something for you to mull or explore on your own.